Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we're going to be playing Golgari. Golgari recently placed 4th in an MTGO challenge last Saturday. We're getting close to the set rotation, so I'm just looking at how good certain decks are in challenges that are placing well today, and then better prep ourselves for the future and what upgrades we might have. Outside of that, we're going to go ahead and just hop into the games. I hope you all enjoy them, and please, for me, be sure to like, comment if you want, and subscribe. I truly appreciate that, and let's just get to the games. Look at that, green mana. So easy. What? Maybe a land, I guess. What? I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really worrying about that thing. I think 20 turn clock, I might get it to block something later. Oh god, it's just discard tribe will help. I discard now. Put down. Seems like a good choice. Sure. We find another land here. Now we'll play a preacher. Preacher can actually help get us kind of back on track if we can gain the life to kind of get back up there. And this is one of the situations where, like, I'm in a nightmare. I think a fever dream is what we would call this situation. Like, I don't know. There's second land from them. We keep finding land. That's not bad. We could virtue something, but we only gain 2 life, so it doesn't get us back up to the right total that we need to be. We attack. Now they have chances to block. They throw one out. Play a Mirror, and we establish a Shieldred right away. So far, so good for having to have discarded 3 cards. I think we're kind of there. They make us discard again, it'll be the land, and we'll just use the virtue. And the reason for that scenario is because virtue will go into the adventure zone, and we won't have to worry about too much. Sure. I mean, we have plenty of basics. We'll just go grab our forest. Then we'll play another forest. We'll have 2 green. Surprised to see them go for my man land, but it kind of makes sense. Because Mirrix is like kind of like over time for the most part. I will not play into more to a board wipe, although now I might. Block Shieldred, kind of showing me that they're a little bit, I wouldn't call that desperate. Probably not the right look, but let's bat and take a look here. There's Paragon, Liliana, Restoration. Paragon's probably the only one I'm truly afraid of. Everything else just kind of sucks. I don't think I need to commit any more to this board. I think it's already strong enough on its own with the Shieldred in play plus Preacher and my creatures. Because I want to play to the potential reestablishment of our board if they do board wipe us here. And this is such a problem that they kind of have to deal with it. They do. I think it's Exile, right? Yeah, Exile. And we have 4 damage on board. Although this, getting rid of our Shieldred does take a lot of our damage off the board. We find another land. Hold land for discard right now. Although I'm 1 turn away from this virtue, and that's also just clean. Most likely to play a Shieldred here, I think. And then which, or not a Shieldred, a Liliana. Let's go to combat attack. Draw another card, get some more info. This is pretty strong. It has to draw to populate exactly. Path to Peril doesn't answer this. So I guess I'm going for lethal. I'm going to change my kind of strat up here. And the reason why I'm going for lethal now is because this doesn't do it. This doesn't do it. This doesn't do it. This last card has to be exactly it. Who goes first? Depending if they play someone turn 1, we'll decide whether we put cut down in play. They maul. Definitely keeping this. We have 3 lands. We do have one that kind of helps us not take as much damage. I'd really like to play this turn 1. But if they play like a Swift Spear or something and it needs answered immediately, cut down's going to have to come up. White, Skrelv, for example. I think if we see poison creature, we answer poison creature. Also, go for the throat's not good against Skrelv because that is an artifact. It becomes kind of hard for us to answer. Liliana's will be very nice because they kind of dodge Skrelv in a way. Ooh, just mono white, but a little bit different. So we play this and we'll play Bat. They're already low on cards in hand, so realistically this is answering like a Brutal Cathar. Or Cavern to play Packle. They'll get a trigger off Packle with a Thalia attack. But we just keep our Bat and then we just go for the throat Packle, I think. Yeah, I mean, we have to take Brutal Cathar regardless, I think. So most likely I would imagine Cavern, Human, Packle, attack. I can't really see much else. Why we do much else. Obviously no attack. We can outgain this. That's not the problem. A little part of me does want to just slam this Preacher and kind of have like consistent block, because they don't really have a whole lot going on, but this wrong hand could be devastating if I do that. Combat, let's attack here. I'll play it post combat and I'll just go for a throat something, because try to Brutal Cathar me, maybe like I just blow up the Brutal Cathar in response. They go for this, I go for this. They're in combat now, so they won't get to play another Packle or like an Adeline. This is just another 3 damage. By just another, it's a lot, but not near as threatening. If they leave up his 3 mana and do nothing, I don't attack, because this just screams Nganjo to me. We could definitely take a look with this Deep Cavern Bat, but he didn't play anything, so I'm putting this Preacher in play, and I'm passing the turn, and we're not playing into Nganjo. No, obviously the gain life is important, and it could be this, but I think we have to do what we did. Now, is this a Knight Errant of Eos? That's also possible. There's a red. Midrange Recruiter is now possible. No attack at all from our opponent. Oh boy. I think maybe batting here is best. Could be a flash creature. I know there's an Nganjo in play, but a lot of these legendary decks play multiple Nganjos. Okay. Well, now I have a bat that I'm not afraid to block with. Are they really going to block with 4 creatures if I attack with this Preacher? And if they do, I feel like I feel way better about it. If they choose 4 creatures to block this, they're going to. Sick. We're gonna get rid of the actual creatures. The reason why is because it makes our board significantly less if they play like a Lord, for example. And that's kind of where I was leading to. And then we'll get to play Liliana. We can minus. We can play a Sentinel, and it's just a big body on its own. We have a couple of 1/1s that do trade well here. I mean, throwing some blocks. Not really a whole lot of reason not to do that. Recruitment, okay. Well, as much as this sucks, I really want to play a Sentinel, but I don't think I can allow them to activate Recruitment Officer over and over again. And then we're kind of hoping for a dead draw, and then it's going to be Liliana minus town. Maybe. Veteran, that's good. I guess maybe it's Sentinel. Activate map, put it on the bat. Okay, Sentinel's pretty large. Activate map here. And now, of course, of all times, we draw the land. We actually have to hold it just in case they play another Lord and they get too wide or too big, and I might have to throw this under a block. No attack. Okay, great. Now we can bat. Let's see them flash another creature in. Yeah. Not really surprised there. Combat, attack. This is all a trick, obviously. Attack actually means nothing. Fantastic. Now we can potentially blow them out of the game by doing this. And then those both shrink. And now I get to take out 2 more creatures. And we activate this map and we put it on the creature we're more willing to block with. And then we draw a land. Don't worry, if you want to draw a land, activate your map token when you're low life and need to put something on your life linker. Well, they attack. Can, but then it just recycles a creature and it doesn't really do anything. Double attack here. We're definitely in a risky spot. Liliana minus is nice, but I can also do it this way. You better triumph, discard a card, pop this, get rid of this. Yeah. Then now we can kind of just face up here. Adeline might block. Sure. So nice if we had like a virtue there. Just kind of shoulder check that. But of course now we're going to minus here. Make him pop a creature. It could attack. Then we can chump block or eat the 1/1 just to get the Liliana off the board for them. Just know. That's a sweet draw, but it doesn't really do much here. Could attack with Adeline. They choose not to. Play creature or land. Activate map. Target here. Could have targeted that Sentinel.
Don't overthink things.
Okay, we're good. Like my audio went away for a second. Over the top, we're definitely attacking to keep gaining life and also threatening their life total, which is a big key point of what we're doing. And I'm going to hold this back just in case. I don't care if Liliana goes. I do have a Restless Cottage to also bring up and block. The sneaky block, but they should know about it. Got for me. It'll be the time for them to attack because NT's on the board and they can kind of naturally grow the thing. Sure. Where we let Adeline go and we just block the 1/1. Get rid of here. End up this. Another NT. That makes sense. Alright. Fair enough. You get to see the card before we make a game action. That's disgusting. Well, now we can actually do something really cool here, and we just double block this instead. And now our Liliana lives, but also we get to throw a double block on this Adeline and get it off the battlefield. And they give us our creature that's actually a little bit safer. Fair enough. Yeah, that doesn't work, big dog. That's not the card you want. All right, we double attack here. As this is not a soldier card, it is a human knight. Activate this first. No cards in hand. Plus here, target here. Moved all the way up in terms of our life total. The game is completely flipped on its head. I was surprised not to see him concede right away. We halted the pressure early, build up on our value that we had on the board, and slowly progressed the game, letting our life total get a little low, then ultimately grinding back into winning the match. We'll take that. We'll definitely take that. Opponent goes first, have bat and a go for a throat maybe. Reach is also solid. I mean, our hand's pretty like low to the ground and good, so. What's up with all the discard decks all of a sudden? I've been nightmared and then I've been hit with a creature that makes me discard. That's fine. I'm not worried about that at all, really. But against this match right now, I'm definitely going to play this bat. They can give it a -1/-1, but I wanted to really take a look at their hand, see what cards are good, what are not. I'm going to take the go for the throw because they want to use Rite of Oblivion. And they have to sacrifice this thing. They get a little bit of value off that. They gain life automatically. Kind of weird. I was going to assume they were going to give this a -1/-1, but they chose not to. That's pretty sweet, to be honest. But let's give them a Rite of Oblivion target. Let's attack, you know, get them down. Archfiend of the Dross will be like a good follow-up play to what's on the board. Temporary Lockdown kind of like only hurts them at this point. It feels like a dead card overall. Try both of the bottom. Kind of a good sign for me. Sure. Play land. I'm gonna play Archfiend. Seems like the right thing to do in this present state of the game. Temporary Lockdown doesn't work. They could use it here to get their Go for the Throat back, but then they lose literally half their board. Bit of Oblivion right off the gate again. Yeah, the sack creatures, they lose their life. We'll take 3. Sure. Running slightly thin. Would argue. Get Liliana down. And with Lily. Minus, of course.
Haven't you ever heard
how does Rite of Oblivion say? Is it sacrifice, exile target, non-land permanent? Okay. That's what I wanted. I'm not going to give them the mana here or the chance to sacrifice that or use it. So we're just going to pop it right away. And now we're empty-handed where Liliana's plus really only values us instead. And now they play another wedding announcement. The first one's done, so this is only making creatures from here on out. Play land, we play preacher. Station there means they might have a Go for the Throat. We plus Lily. Drop, okay. But we attack. Do solid on its own. Now they're empty-handed. They have a Mirrex. They can attack. They can play Gumdrop. They can sack this gain 2 or 3. Make Preacher an 0-1, attack my Liliana down if I don't chump block, which I'm a higher life total, so I'd probably let Liliana go and just prioritize attacking with Preacher and drawing cards. Whether they want to commit to that, I think that's what we're seeing now. So it's just short of being able to kill my Preacher. So as you see, it's a -1/1. Death Touch is not applicable anymore. It'll hit. I'll make another token. Okay, I lied. I'm gonna change my game plan. It's 6, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's good to me. We could start destroying their artifacts, but I need to make a big enough blocker at first. I could attack and draw a card, but I'd much rather use these as defenders. I guess the bat could have attacked, because I'm definitely not blocking with it, regardless. Land. You got for me? You just find no answer for it. Sick. Cool. Nissa comes off the top and wins us a game. We go first. Very cool. We have double Go for the Throat. We can maybe connect into a Glissa, cycle this Mosswood if we need to find a land. Obviously that's not guaranteed to hit a land, but try either way. The Death Cap Glade first. No cut down to represent. Also, we'd much rather have with 3 2-mana cards in our opener. A little bit more flexibility there. And here, I'm just going to play our Mosswood as a 3/2 because we do hit the land. We don't need to try to get one, nor did they play an early game threat, so we don't need to hold up to Go for the Throat. Combat. Attack. No hesitation there, so Glissa's getting slammed. And now we have 6 damage on the board, which is about a 3-turn clock. It's like slightly short, but also we have to feel that though there's going to be some type of tension. Big Rakdos. Virtue comes in, pomps that out of the way. Fine. Combat. Still get to kind of up the ante here, and we'll get to really figure out what deck they are after this turn. Whether they are the Geological Appraiser version or like just a bigger one. This a land drop. Well, just like that, I feel like the game's over. We're gonna look. I think probably the only thing that really matters in this hand, the only thing that matters is the Carnosaur. The other Preacher we obviously have a removal for. And then we'll pop Preacher. They'll take 2 off my Archfiend. We'll attack for 9. And then over the top, they basically have to answer this card right here, or they lose. That's kind of why the Carnosaur was the only issue. 6 damage over the top, and real quickly we kind of take it to the Rakdos stack, which is kind of awkward for us. Normally Golgari isn't this like aggressive right out the rip, but I mean Mosswood into Glissa into Archfiend can kind of do that, and that's why I think Archfiend of the Dross, this card, is kind of floated around the stack for so long, because when you do get to do stuff like this, it's so punishing for your opponent and it's so hard for them to get back into the game. But having too many copies of that, they're just like clunkers that get hit with the Sunfall and you lose. So this is such like a good 3, 4, and 5 hand with 4 mana. I do like keeping hands with a lot of mana in it. It just kind of depends if they're aggro or not, but I'm gonna keep regardless. Not like a super fan of keeping this, but not like that opposed to it either. Because if we do rip some removal, in which we do play quite a lot, this hand feels a lot better. We ask for removal, not cards that need removed. Also, like a Mosswood Dread Knight is just such a good rip here too. Don't find either. So far it's mono black. I don't know if that's gonna stick. Normally mono black is not the archetype you see a lot, but it seems to be here so far. I mean, now we have to kind of hope our creatures pay off. We get to play a Sentinel, tough card to remove, but go for the throw will obviously answer it pretty cleanly. Seem to be hitting really well. Liliana's coming in. And I think us having too slow of a hand, I don't know if we're going to be able to keep up with this. I mean, I'm going to play an Archfiend of the Dross and hope it's enough to kind of rebalance, but they're at 6 cards. They have all the board presence, and we're just kind of getting ran over. Definitely probably should have mulled, but I also didn't expect to rip 3 more lands and a Shieldred. We have like all the removal. If they remove this right away, it might just have to be GG's go next. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to be able to keep up with 2 cards a turn plus Liliana pluses. It just is what it is. Welcome to best of 1. If like we go first. We do have a Mosswood this time, so we have a 2, 3, and a 4 drop and 4 mana. Again, I still like the 4 mana hands. Because again, I like to think that 7 is our sweet spot. Here right away, we're just going to play our Mosswood. We're going to start charging ahead with it. Seems like Esper, Liliana is going to be really solid to kind of slot in here. I bet. Sure. A little bit hasty. I think maybe they could have just taken the damage, because now we don't have to play this. I'll just play a Liliana, and maybe they have another Edict. We can plus.
Happy to help, but I'm
Oh boy. If it's control, Nissa's so strong. So I'm gonna actually weirdly let Shieldred go here. Yeah. I mean, Faithful Mending just screams at his control. There they go. They start drawing, trying to find an answer for this Shieldred or this Liliana. Again, go for the throw. It's probably not that great. Fire this off now. Oh, they didn't miss the land. No. Go for the throw again. Not that strong. There goes the Sunfall. I guess I have to do this. Mess that up. But we do find a land for Nissa. Faithful Mending again. To gain life, not going to be a huge concern. If I split their mana in half with this Liliana. Sunfall, Celestis goes. Quite funny experience thus far. Stage you play? Restless Cottage. Sorry. Kind of have to go here. Constantly hitting their hand, making it more and more complicated. Here goes a Breach. We don't care about our life total against this matchup, so we're willing to just play this big Nissa and get it fired up and active right away. And then now, if they tap a Sunfall or removal spell, we just follow this up with Mosswood and a Preacher. Odawara pounce back the hand because they have to. Absolutely devastating for our opponent there for sure. I mean, just play it back down, activate it, let our Preacher go, hit one of their last cards in hand.
You won't be outsmarting me.
One of their few last cards in hand, and that's a farewell. plus on Nissa. Play a Mosswood. You could argue that we don't play it, but I do think like Deepest Betrayal following this turn up is just super strong. I think I'd rather just tap out and kind of present a massive board state along with 2 walkers that they have to deal with. It's so much. It's so overwhelming so quickly. Hey, you made cards. So they were hoping to maybe keep out last card, but we're going to play land. We're going to play Archfiend. We're going to activate Lily, make them discard that card. Oh, we do a first here. And we have enough mana that we can just kind of play the swamp and represent cut down right away. Sure. Play swamp. Haven't played against mono red in a minute, so I know it's coming. It's just a matter of time. The domain. Ugh. Play other land. We'll pass. Then I'll just get a Sentinel down, or maybe a Liliana, kind of depending. Or it's just Rakdos, and our cut down does have value. Nice. I definitely think getting Sentinel up and active is going to be better for things like the Bitter Triumph, so our Liliana can stick around once we kind of get our hand emptied here. And I think going Sentinel into Sentinel, putting counters on stuff maybe with these maps is just going to be really, really strong, and then playing the Liliana at the end of all of that. All right, no real instant speed shenanigans are going to go on here, I think. So we're gonna attack first. They wanted us to activate our map, I believe. Then they were going to try to remove our Sentinel, which is one of the reasons I like to attack first. Force them to kind of respond. Maybe it's just a blood token cycle. It's okay. I just said end. Sure. If it's the stock list I'm thinking of, depending, there's kind of like 2 stock lists. It can either be playing Burn Down the House or not. I'm just not sure. We're going to play more creatures to the board. Is this an appraiser list or not? Appraiser lists don't normally play Brotherhood in because that's generally a bad hit for the appraiser. Alright. Well. Play land. Kind of the same scenario here. Gonna double attack, make more maps. I gotta be hard removal or not. I'm going to be willing to play Liliana plussing. The only problem is Cruelty Gift, and it's like at that point, do I actually let them put Natalia in the yard? And I think the answer is no. Although if this is big score, it doesn't matter regardless. You know, let's try. Activate maps here. I mean, at some point, right? These gotta grow, I think. No? Okay. At this point, I just want to activate just for, like, game knowledge, right? Like, do I just keep going? This is the most miraculous game I've ever played in my entire life. I played this 3-2 because at this point, I'm 15 cards deep. I've had my starting hand besides this Mosswood Dread Knight in terms of other cards. I'm 15 cards deep and I have 11 lands. Oh, one shorter, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lands to my 5 Magic the Gathering cards. Quite the ratio. Oh, now watch this. It's just going to be just 10 spells. All right. Well, just like that. Pretty sure we lost. I don't know if we could compete with a Nissa. It's our Nissa, but the problem is, like, this board state, right? A removal spell and we're fine, actually.
Welcome, my companion.
Real, the game's not real. The game's not real. It can't hurt us. It can't hurt us. I'm conceding, dude. Like, come on now. Removal, Mosswoods seems good. I have the ideal land to play on turn 1 as well. We just had a game where we couldn't draw anything other than lands. So I feel like this is the game where we're only going to draw non-land cards. And we have to sit here and pretend like everything's okay. And that client's fine. But hey, it heard me complaining, so it gave me a land. I love it here. That's an interesting card. Move it? I guess. I don't even know. These shielders will die. I think if they don't do anything here. Oh, Storm. Yeah, that's pretty good. Do make a burr. Alright, well, let's deep cavern bat. So potentially a deep cavern bat. Okay. Sorry. This one. This one. Okay, let's get him to exhaust all the the removal, I guess, because realistically it should be remove deep cavern bat, and then maybe they want to remove the other one. Sure. Could have attacked and see if I'd block, but that's fine.
Blood for knowledge.
Or you could have activated that first and got more information before you decided that, you know, attacking was the way you wanted to go. Now they have to decide, do they attack, which they chose not to, which was smart. The problem was they didn't want to attack and then let me hit their Soren with my Restless Cottage. But do I even want to do that regardless? They do have a go for the throat, and they do have a bat to kind of look at my hand. Just play this plus the Sentinel. I kind of like that the most. Now just two creatures that can kill this off, and then we can attack Soren if we want. Go for the throat's probably gonna hit my Sentinel. They bat first this time, get more information before they just fire off to go for the throat. Maybe realizing that second Shieldred is more troublesome than my current board state, so who knows. Make another 2/3. That is fine to an extent. A lot of blockers. They have a lot of stuff going on. Maybe force them to use their go for the throat. I doubt it. Yeah, I would say I doubt they use it, but draw a card here. Trying to make sure they have as little information on my hand as possible. Play this. Now we can go to combat. Of course, attacks are here. And if they throw one blocker in front of Dread Knight, I then cut down that blocker because it does have trample, which is kind of like the unique thing that Mosswood does have. The way the trample works is if the creature that it's blocking is no longer there, they'll trample over, which will force them to use their go for the throat of my Mosswood. Maybe they won't think about it. You remember how trample works. Okay. Did you see? They didn't want to use that go for the throat. We'll take it in strides. Maybe they didn't care. Maybe they didn't notice that was going to be how it worked. Very possible regardless either way. You want to duress me? I love mainboard duress. Just looks so silly sometimes. Alright, well, Shieldred bonks. We draw. We take a little bit of damage. And just like that. Rest wouldn't have got this card either. What is this? When it's battlefield, surveil 2, and then put the top card in your library and 3 life. Okay, sure. I'm going to take a go for the throat, and I'm going to slam a Shieldred. I feel like that is beyond reasonable here. Then attacking with these. We don't care if they die because we have Shieldred to cycle and draw. We're 2 turns away from the virtue, so that also helps kind of affect our game plan a little bit. And again, we'll just cycle this later. Now if this is draw, pop, or Shieldred, we still have a Shieldred. It would be reset to 22. Regardless if they remove it now. That's a nice spell. Works out well. Just replay our Shieldred and then cycle our Mosswood regardless. Like we do anything. Your play. Attacking with the bat again. I would love to find removal, to be honest. Obviously, I'm not going to give them their go for the throat back. That seems like a horrible mistake. I mean, finding land is not necessarily the worst thing of all time, but Gotta play Shieldred first here. Gotta cycle this. Now the argument is, do I play another cottage down? But I think activating our map here is just way better. At some point, you would think maybe we'll hit a non-land. We do, and now we can hold the bat because it can actually trade off this cavern bat. Not do anything. Now I'm just gonna hold as well, so I can double block this Shieldred down. I really just wanted one to kind of fly in so I can get a redraw up to 23, or kind of staying at 23, I guess. Really don't remember what this does. End buffs fail to for each time you put a card in your hand and you lose 3 life. We're at 23. They took a lot of damage, but they wanted to hit lands and maybe finally go for the throat, or like just any type of removal, I guess. Can't imagine there's an attack here. Yeah, we draw. Life total resets in general here. You play bat, big bad bat, play our other mosswood, and you could argue maybe we do attack with Shieldred here, because they can either double block and give us another Shieldred back, but I'd like to do that if I have a Shieldred kind of active. I'll attack here. No reason to kind of attack with anything else. Maybe they found another land, they can kind of slam a virtue down. But I do think kind of gaining at life, plus I also have an additional backup flying blocker. Again, they'll lose life, and then we'll gain life. In 13. Gotten the gap a lot closer. This big virtue. 7 mana. Big gigs. Stack the biggest one. Stack is Shieldred. These has lifelink. I think Shieldred's their main kind of target with to go for the throat anyway. Draw. That's a thick draw. The combat. Back here. Trigger this discard. Now they know we have Shieldred, and now it's like, man, that's going to be kind of annoying. I make another flyer. All goes well. Flyer Shieldred here. Turn. Well, they don't do anything. I'm just holding this go for the throat for maybe a worse threat than the Shieldred. I would like them to commit to this virtue before I do go for the throat their Shieldred. Any attacks, any nonsense. This out of my way. Now I have a drain here. I have a bring up here. Then we're going to attack all out, and just like that, get to kind of outgrind our opponent. I might have had lethal on the board regardless, but I'm still going to just put everything on the table. Just not really count, because math is for blockers. I did, by the way. They block Shieldred. They get hit for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, plus this. But I still, like, just out of a habit thing, like, just play correct, you know? Do the thing you got to do. All right, so we're playing the list on MTGO that got 4th place in the current kind of meta. The Esper list, I think, came from there, or it's kind of like, no, the Esper list did not come from this challenge that I just uploaded. This was a separate one, actually, because the Esper list that won was 8-2. The last one was 10-0. This list did well, so I wanted to play it. And I do think the thing I like about this list, the thing I've talked about when I've played best of one a lot of times, is this deck list does kind of feel like a best of one deck list, at least in the main board, with a random Archfiend of the Dross, a random Deep Betrayal, you know, the 2 Virtues, one of Nissa, like the 2 Lilianas in there, 2 Sentinel of the Nameless City, kind of just like building up these like random variations of cards. And this is like a list I would feel solid playing in best of one a lot, The other thing I like about it as well, and maybe a little less on this, I do think these type of removal spells just need to like kind of halt in terms of the conversation, because again, the new set's going to kind of change these, at least in my opinion. But in this deck list, like, these are really nice, and then you only have 2 cut downs instead of like a lot of times I see decks playing 3 of these, and they're just in best of 1 so hard to kind of manage and like justify playing 3. Because even mono red with like a mono counter like outgrows your cut down, so it's a little bit crazy there. Outside of that, I mean, Bitter Triumph's great. We obviously have the best like 2 drops in terms of that we can play with the Deep Cavern Bat and the Mosswood. There's no Gix kind of combo with that Mosswood or that Deep Cavern Bat. The Gix being coming in, you know, having Mosswood attack, kind of like how it did against that mono black matchup where we flooded a little. By little, I mean a lot, but whatever. Then Preacher is that 4 of card. I mean, we kind of take an example from Rakdos, where Rakdos really only plays 11 creatures, I think. Yeah, because they play 4 Preachers, 4 Carnosaurs, and 3 Atalis, and Preacher has been solid enough for them in the 3 mana slot, and I think Preacher has overall just kind of said, hey, I'm the best 3 mana creature at the end of the day. Just play for me. Monitor the rest of your creatures, and that's what we do here. We keep Preacher in as 4 of, you know, we can make life linkers against the kind of aggro matchups. We have the Death Touch to trade up with anything, like even attacking into like a Shieldred sometimes is really scary for our opponent because they can't block it very effectively. Or like against the Soldiers matchup, you see we attack Preacher, we assign 1 damage to 2 things. They were 1 toughness creatures, but say they had to block with 2 bigger ones, 1 damage to each will kill them both, and that's just really nice. And the value that Preacher gets us is so relevant that they feel obligated to trade it off. Outside of like a Sentinel as a 3/4, if you don't get that extra counter on Sentinel, best thing it's got going for it is Vigilance. Really good against the blue-white matchups. However, like, that's the whole reason of playing like the Nissas and the Virtues and kind of using cards like Mosswood to outgrind them. The only problem is, again, we lose to Jace Mill, but like, who doesn't in best of 1 at some point? Like, if you're playing any mid-range thing and they play Jace and mill you for 15, most likely going to lose eventually anyway because you'll never get set up. But Liliana also helps kind of police that. It keeps really good pressure on the blue-white players, and they can't really just sit back and wait because Nissa or Liliana will just constantly plus, as you saw in the 1 control matchup, and then we get to play a Nissa later in that matchup, and it just works out so incredibly well for us. But outside of that, I really enjoyed this list today. I think this list is really, really solid. I do think we're going to get quite a bit of upgrades as it comes into the new set. Now, will we be playing Massacre Girl? I don't know. Massacre Girl is really, really good at drawing cards, and we do tend to be a little heavy in the 3 and 2 mana slots. And best of 1, maybe you will just slot 1 in because how strong Mosswood will be. Because the main thing that Massacre Girl, and not even outside the card draw that I like, is the Wither effect, where we're putting like -1/-1, and if people keep playing Deep Cavern Bats, like just killing those with the Massacre Girl in play is going to draw us card plus give us our card back. So it has like a lot of potential there, is kind of where I'm getting into. And if people are playing Preachers against us and they make a 1/1 lifelinker while we kill it and we draw a card because its power is 1 or less, and just the Wither mechanic in general is going to help out a lot. So do we play a couple of those? Maybe. Do we play the Long Goodbye? Most definitely. Like, just being able to answer Rafine at instant speed during combat when they try to declare it as a block or attacker, and we don't have to worry about make disappear or uncounterable type or counter spells of that type effect. It's going to work out well. Same against like Liliana. We just don't have to discard a card or take the damage that Bitter Triumph does. So it's just very nice in that retrospect. Besides that, I mean, I don't know. A lot of times, you know, sets have new cards, and those cards have so many words on it that it's kind of hard to retain everything and everything that every card does. But if you're interested, here's the sideboard. I mean, it'll be linked with the deck list. The deck list will be linked to the challenge winners deck list. Again, I like to link their name and their challenge placing so you can see like, oh, this is where you got the deck list from if you've never experienced that, or where people get deck lists from. MTG Goldfish is a great way. Moxfield's a great way. There's a lot of different ways to do it. So other than that, I hope you all enjoyed. I hope you have a wonderful night, day, evening, wherever you're watching from, and I'll catch you all in the next one. watching and goodbye.